I'd also like to introduce Rahul Ishwar, author and activist, and Anisha Gawande, who's the spokesperson of NCPSP, joining us on the broadcast. Rahul Ishwar, it is a sensitive matter. Where do you stand on this issue and how do you support your arguments?
2 points, ma'am. Nobody is against dogs and nobody has some kind of a dog phobia or hatred for dogs. But let me point out, 2022, 2.19 million dog bite cases were reported nationwide, according to the Press Information Bureau. 2023, it rose 26% to 2.75 million. 2024, it again rose to 3.72 million dog bite case being reported. And, according to very many other statistics, nearly 54 deaths were reported. So everybody is saying human life needs to be prioritized. Nobody is against animal right. At the same point of time, human life needs to be prioritized.
Okay, Anish, what is your point of view?
I think the unfortunate reality here today is that the Supreme Court's verdict is a disproportionate and illogical solution to a problem that is acknowledged by every single person. Now, the reality is that putting every single stray dog in a shelter, especially when you don't even know how many stray dogs exist in Delhi, because the last time they were counted was 10 years ago, much like the last time human beings in this country were counted 15 years ago, is a disaster waiting to happen, right? And we know this for a fact. It hasn't worked abroad. Why will it work in India? What will happen? You will spend thousands of crores on sending these animals to shelters where they will most likely languish and die. And in return, you will see many other stray dogs who are unvaccinated, who are unused to urban surroundings, take their place. So this is one vast, expensive, and silly exercise that does not solve the problem at hand. I agree with Rahul over here that nobody is a dog hater, but on the other side, you also have to realize that nobody wants people to be bitten by dogs. Nobody in their right mind is saying that stray dogs are not a menace, but this is simply not the solution. 56 rabies cases are what the central government said were recorded in 2024. Not a single one was from Delhi. Why has the MCD not succeeded in providing rabies vaccinations at every single government hospital in Delhi? Please do an expose and see how many of those hospitals currently stock rabies vaccines and give them to people. More importantly, why has the MCD failed time and again to sterilize dogs, which is part of its mandate under the ABC guidelines and the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act? So the incompetence of one agency is going to be corrected by an even more massive task handed to the same incompetent agency, right? So this is not even a solution. I'd be happy if we were discussing solutions.
Right.
But this is yet another foolhardy exercise.
I want to get Rahul Ishwar on that because more than the order itself, the implementation aspect of it, that is also being questioned, from questions of how can authorities possibly provide a safe, good shelter. Firstly, we lack shelters. Secondly, to be able to provide that for 10 lakh community dogs. Does the Indian law even enmask relocation of dogs? And how can this exercise be carried out successfully in 90 days?
Yeah, the implementation is definitely an implementation plan needs to be charted out. I agree with my respected co-panel's sentiments. See, we respect animal rights. We, especially Indians, for thousands of years have respected animals as a part of the entire ecosystem. But having said that, when children died, when family members are attacked, it creates a sort of, if I can say, negativity, if I can use that word, in a very serious manner. That's the reason why all those animal lovers, I respect animal. I will never call myself an animal lover. All those animal lovers who have a very humane or who have a very compassionate heart, they should bring out with some kind of a solution-centric thing, and it needs to be shown that it is being done. Because rather than our intellectual and academic debates, when somebody really loses a child, the entire local population turns more hostile, turns more into a negative mode, and that's what happened in many places in Kerala, especially a 6-year-old or less than a 10-year-old girl and all. When she's dying from dog bites, it creates a sense of if I can use that word, revenge in a very serious sense. That's the reason why I agree justice is what is needed, but some kind of a drastic solution needs to be there. I believe people like John Abraham in their right sense are very much pro for this cause. Let them pool in resources, or let government machinery find some resources, do something. But something the dogs needs to be, or at least these kind of issue having dogs needs to be taken off streets, and some kind of solution needs to be done, and it needs to be seen to be done. Because otherwise people are really scared and they are having a very negative atmosphere. I don't have any shame in conceding that.
Okay. Anish, what according to you is the solution?
See, the reality is that those who think that putting up G20 hoardings in front of slums is going to solve poverty are the same ones who think that sending dogs to shelters is going to prevent rabies. Now, please tell me, the carriers of rabies in this country, the top two carriers of rabies are monkeys and rats. What is the MCD doing about them? What is the government doing to control these populations? So, when you are incompetent at doing your job on one front, you're being tasked with another bigger job. The solution is very simple. It's a global solution. It's been used in multiple countries around the world. It is sterilize, vaccinate, and release. There is no reason to burden the exchequer with thousands of crores. The government in Delhi is running out of money. Rekha Gupta ji must come to her senses because the DTDC doesn't have money. The Delhi Jal Board is running bankrupt. Where is she going to find 15,000 crores to fund these shelters? And where are the shelters? When there are no shelters, when there's no provisions in place, in 8 weeks, how are you going to implement an order like this? The bad thing that is going to happen through this is that you're going to see fights emerge on every corner of every street in Delhi. Street dog feeders are going to fight with MCD authorities. The Delhi police is going to be busy solving these fights instead of solving real issues like rapes and murders that continue unchecked in the city. So again, I'm not disagreeing that this is a problem, but the court in all of its wisdom has forgotten that it is an interpreter of the law and not an inventor of the law. There are laws in place passed by parliament. Who does the court think it is when it is passing these orders? The same Tushar Mehta who comes on to the court and says during marriage equality proceedings that the court cannot create law and must follow the law of the land, now turns around and does not object when the Supreme Court goes against the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act and the ABC guidelines issued by Parliament. So this is not scientific, it's not logical, and it's not going to solve the problem at hand.
Right. Anish and Rahul, I want to thank you for joining us this evening on India Today, and fair arguments coming in from both sides.